Hello, I am delighted to welcome Susie Garden to having a chat with me today. And Susie is a nutritionist and naturopath and fabulous metabolic balance practitioner based on the Gold Coast. Hello, Susie.
Hey, Cherry, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. It's great to chat to
That's
you.
good.
So, when did
Yes.
you when did you introduce metabolic balance into your practice?
It was actually at the beginning of 2020, believe it or not.
Yeah,
I
so
did
it's
my
been
training
nearly
in
four
January.
years. Yeah,
Yes,
that's
yes,
awesome.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
fill
yeah.
me in as to why did you first of all introduce MB? What drew you to it?
Mm. It was actually a really specific client that drew me to
Okay.
MB. She was a lady that was in my clinic that she weighed 142 kilos. She was 43 years old at the time and had high blood pressure and was
Yeah.
medicated. And I really felt that I did not have the skill set to bring her weight down the substantial amount that it needed to be from the training I'd had at uni as a
Right. Yeah.
nutritionist. And I just felt that I needed something else. And I had met some metabolic balance practitioners a couple of months earlier. And the way they were going on about metabolic balance, I just thought, this is too good to be true. I just couldn't believe that the stories they were telling me, I just couldn't believe it. And I remember
Hmm.
Googling, metabolic balance is a scam, metabolic balance doesn't work. And I could not find anything negative, which is so unusual on the internet,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
So I thought, okay, I'm going to do this. I think I may have had a chat to you first. And
Hmm.
then I thought, okay, this sounds awesome. I'm going to do it. And oh my gosh, it's now pretty much exclusively what I do. I just love it so much. And I just love the impact on my clients and the benefits they receive.
I'm itching to know how did that lady you just mentioned, how did she go? Did she do MB?
She did. Yeah, she did MB and she loved it. And she got down to, it was interesting actually to work with someone like that because it was pretty much my first client for MB.
Yeah.
And what was really interesting is she got down towards that 100 mark. So she did
Hmm.
exceptionally well. And that's
Hmm.
when she really started to struggle. I think getting over the line, that
Hmm.
100 kilo mark is such a milestone,
Yeah.
and I think some people really struggle with getting beyond that. But so she
Hmm.
did really well. Then she kind of stabilized a little bit just over 100, and then we got her under. And I think
Yeah.
there was a lot
Awesome.
of mindset work that needed to be done because she
Yeah.
really saw her size as protection. She said to me, she said, I know
That's
it sounds very
interesting.
strange, but I feel invisible at this larger size, and that made her feel comfortable, which I thought was really interesting. And this is
Yeah.
the thing when you're working with particularly women around weight loss and body
Yeah.
image, there is so much more
Mm.
than just food. Is so much of the mindset work that needs to happen with it, which is what I love with MB, because I know the food is sorted, I know the portion
Yes.
sizes are right, the macros are right, and then I can really focus on other aspects with my clients.
Yeah. It's interesting
Mm.
as well because obviously you came on board looking for a solution for
Mm.
weight loss. But how do you actually
Mm.
feel about that now? Because you've got a beautiful amount of experience over the last 4 years using metabolic balance in practice.
Yes. And honestly, Cherry, even after 4 years of doing this, I continue to be blown away by the results that clients receive from just changing their food.
Yeah.
And I have this discussion with a lot of clients who, particularly those that have done other weight loss type of programs.
Hmm.
So they've done this before, but they have never received the benefits that they receive from MB. And I can think of actually a client this week. She's only been on, I think she's 6 weeks in. She's lost 8 kilos. But when I was speaking to her, I actually said to her, from when I first started working with her, whenever I did a consult with her, she was very scattered in her thoughts. Like I had
Hmm.
to consistently just
Mm.
keep bringing her back on topic and bringing her back. And
Mm.
she really kind of felt to me like maybe there was some ADHD. And she actually said to me that had been kind of brought up with her before. When I spoke to her this week, she was so calm and so focused. And I brought it up with her. And she said, that's really interesting because I feel more focused. I feel when I'm at work, I feel better. And then she emailed me a day later and said she talked to her husband about it, and he actually felt she was way more present with him, and she felt it actually had improved her relationship with him. And she's just over the moon with the results that she's getting, because she's also got a number of inflammatory conditions, and she's had improvements in all of them, which is incredible. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I
So
think
she's
it's
way
this,
beyond the weight loss now.
Yeah, and I think it's this realization that, well, we know what you eat, how you nourish your body has a direct result in how the whole body and mind is able to actually work. I mean, it seems like this is a radical idea, but actually when you really look at it, well, how else is the body going to work if it's not from the nutrients and the nutrition that you're bringing in? So, what are your thoughts around that?
Exactly. Like it's one of these things, isn't it, Cherry, that literally the food that we're eating is becoming part of us. It becomes part of our muscle cells, our blood cells, our brain chemicals. Like it is literally what we're putting in our body is integrating in with us, plus it's energy.
Yeah.
So, when you think about it like that, it's quite profound, because I don't think we're really taught like that.
No.
Like any sort of, I mean, let's face it, we really don't get a lot of education around nutrition unless we study it. But when I had that concept at uni, it was really quite mind-blowing to me. And I was a mature age student, and I'd been a registered nurse, and I'd never even thought about any of those sorts of things. So when you think about that and you think, well, the difference between putting in, a fast food burger, do I really want that to become part of me versus making my own, where I know every single ingredient that's in there and I can control every ingredient that's in there, rather than all of the chemicals that go into a lot of the fast foods. And, let's face it, a lot of the clients that we see are having a lot of that kind of takeaway and food delivery and that sort of thing. So, having an understanding of how food interacts with our body and with our cells, then you can actually really see also that benefit to clients with the way that they think, the way they sleep, the way their hormones can regulate. It's really quite extraordinary, but so simple at the same time.
Yes, and I do feel that the tide is slowly turning, that there is an increased recognition of the importance of nutrition in health. But it still seems that a lot of the time it's like, oh yeah, we'll just go down the medication route. All this, you've got to take some kind of medication, or that's just you and you have to put up with it.
Absolutely. And it's true. And I think, part of my career journey has also been, I was a long time in the pharmaceutical industry. The discussions I had with health practitioners over many years, when particularly I worked in cholesterol lowering medication for a period of time, and a lot of the doctors would complain, that, to get the drug on the PBS, we have to go through diet and lifestyle first. And none of the patients want that. They just want the drug, and we're talking 20 years ago. But I think that's been a mindset for people coming, in that generation, that, we'll just take a pill. Like, we'll just control our blood pressure, we'll control our cholesterol, we'll our reflux, all of those things. We'll just take pills. And there's not that sense of, hang on a second, I could actually heal my body with food. And I think
the potential
was probably the potential.
I think the potential of the body.
Yes, exactly. But I think even back then that there was a woo-woo aspect of healing the body with food. What are you talking about? But realistically, that's what we're designed to do. We're designed to operate in by eating and by moving the body and by being in nature. That's how we were designed. So we should be able to do that. It makes sense.
From my point of view, I always just think every body, every person and every person's body does have the potential to be balanced and as healthy as their personal potential allowed. So we all know we can't all be Olympic athletes, but we all could be able to move without pain, and we all should be able to have balanced blood pressure and balanced blood sugar. And it's actually recognizing that there are external drivers that actually, as soon as we become aware of it, we could actually change it and change our own potential. That's the thing that excites me. Yeah.
Yeah. And I get very excited as well as that potential, and how, I guess, as we said, people just, when you have pain in your body, for example, it becomes people's normal, and they just don't even think that anything can be done, and other than taking medications. I did have a lady with rheumatoid arthritis, and she needed to lose around 30 kilos. So that was her goal. And she really struggled with exercise or moving the body because of her pain. And she was due to go and have some surgery, but she wanted to drop some weight before the surgery. And so as soon as she made the commitment to doing the program, she started walking, but she could only manage like 5-10 minutes of walking because her feet were so sore. And as she got into the program and started, she just started extending those walks, just another 5 minutes, just another 5 minutes. And she ended up, the pain in her body just disappeared within, I think it was 3 weeks, disappeared. And so she was able to walk and walk and walk, and she loved it. But also, so she lost 23 kilos in 16 weeks, which was amazing. And she went on to do to the 30. But when she went to her surgeon to have the preoperative kind of review, she walked in and the surgeon just looked at her and went, "What have you been doing?" And she told her, and she went, "Oh my gosh, you look amazing," which she did. And her skin was glowing and just like all of the things. And the surgeon examined her and went, "You don't need the surgery anymore." And she was like, "What?" And she said, "I want to know what you're doing." And this surgeon actually put her husband on metabolic balance.
That's awesome.
She was blown away, because she said, this is not just about the weight loss. No. She could tell by, the blood she was doing, the examination of her body, that this was actually genuine lowering of inflammation through food. But
this is actually what we try to say. The weight loss is purely a side effect. Actually, it's like this, weight is released, or the inflammatory, excess fat or the unhealthiness that is released as soon as you get the balance back, because the body wants to be healthy.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Awesome.
It's really quite amazing. Yeah. And, I even had a lady, actually, because I work primarily with perimenopausal women. I had a lady in her early 40s. She'd gone through IVF unsuccessfully, and she'd gone into early menopause. And so I was working with her with metabolic balance. She didn't have a lot of weight to lose, but she wanted to, I think she had about 6 kilos she wanted to lose. So she did that, but also she got her periods back. And she had her had her bloods tested, and her hormones came back online. It was bizarre. And again, I think potentially obviously the IVF had manipulated her hormones. So when she'd had the blood testing done, her doctor had said, well, you're at menopausal level of hormones. So they just assumed early menopause. But getting back into this food that was just right for her brought back everything back online. It was just insane.
Yeah. No, that's really cool. So yes, your niche is perimenopause. So I think, again, that comes almost back to what we were saying before as well, that a lot of women in this perimenopause phase of their lives, it's this bizarre, I think a bit bizarre, to be honest, but this bizarre story that we're told that it's almost a disorder, and it's normal to feel all the symptoms of that a lot of women unfortunately do feel during this transition time. Do you want to expand on how you see this?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, to be honest, a lot of women don't even understand perimenopause. And I know even myself, we didn't get a lot of training about it at uni and in my previous sort of conventional medicine either. But you just think of menopause, of being over 50, you don't have periods, and then you're getting all of the hot flushes and things, and that's about it. You're not thinking that you're in your 40s and you're getting insomnia, and you're getting brain fog, and you're getting weight gain, and you're getting just a lack of memory, and all of these sorts of things, let alone what might be going on with the periods. And I think a lot of people, and certainly even for myself, I didn't make that connection at all when I was having terrible insomnia, particularly, and memory and brain fog. I didn't think of perimenopause until years down the track when I did more reading about it and training in it. And so I think that's part of it, is just a lack of knowledge and education that this is actually perimenopause. You're not going crazy. You don't have something else going on. And also then that there's actually so much we can do for that through food, through stress management, through managing gut health, through, good detox. This is the thing that I think a lot of women, we're just so uneducated on it. And I'm just thrilled to see some high profile women speaking out about it, and actually acknowledging it. And because I think there is also a little bit of a stigma attached because of that association with aging and our culture being more about youth. And I think that also stops women from speaking out. And also they feel like, and I know even my own discussions with my own GP, there's a lack of knowledge at that level as well as to what's going on and to what the symptoms are.
Yeah. I think it's also just that interesting nature that you've helped many women rebalance and feel good during this perimenopause, menopause time of life. And it is that recognition that it's when somebody's going through that, they need this little bit of extra support for themselves, that there is something they can truly do. They can make minor tweaks in their day and how their eating schedule is, that is very achievable and very doable, that would really get the results they need. And it's not just a case of, take some HRT or take some, extra medication, or just put up with it and turn the aircon on or something like that.
Yes.
That type of thing. It's just, there is something you can really, really do about it.
Oh, Cherry, I had medical marijuana offered to me for my sleep.
Really?
Yeah, I did.
I know. It's almost there's this. I mean, actually, let's could you just sort of share how you see metabolic balance really fitting into the average lifestyle of your clients? Because I think one of the things that sometimes makes people a bit fearful, oh my gosh, that is really difficult to do. I haven't got time to do that. I've got too much on my plate. Where would how would you answer that kind of question?
Yeah, gosh, there's so many ways to answer it, really, because I get so much feedback from women that, this is probably the easiest thing I've ever done. Because the majority of women that I have coming through have done other types of weight loss types of programs. So they've done keto or paleo or whatever other things. And so some of them are very aware that there's going to be an element of food prep. There's going to be an element of having to think about and plan what they're eating. But I would say at least half of my ladies would say this is so much easier than I was expecting. And a lot of them say this is the easiest thing that I've ever done, because it's there. It's laid out for you. It's laid out for you, your portion size, which I think is just amazing for us to know, because we never really get educated on that. Because sure, there's images of like what a plate should look like, but we know that, what a plate should look like for someone who is a man in their 30s versus a woman in her late 40s is actually very different. And what I find fascinating to see when I get the plans through is the different ratios of the protein to the veggies and salad. And most people are quite thrilled that they get bread. Oh my gosh. And and I think what I would say is, yes, you do need to think about what you're going to eat to make sure you've got that on hand for yourself. And it does make life easier if you do a little bit of prep. So when you do your shop, if you do kind of get your portion sizes ready to go, that does make life a bit easier. But, you've got to eat anyway. And when you are actually nourishing your body and your brain, you feel so much better that it's just worth it.
Yeah.
It's just worth it. And,
Well,
the
it then
majority of my
becomes even
clients will
easier.
say, well, it does. That's the thing. It does because
Yeah.
your mood is better, your motivation is better,
Mm.
and this is it's so true, Cherry. Like once you get past that first week or two, where
Mm.
things are changing inside your body, and
Mm-hmm.
things are just so much easier. You feel
Mm-hmm.
less overwhelmed because your neurotransmitters and your
Mm.
brain chemistry is working so much better.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Mm.
it's kind of
Yeah.
worth it. Yeah.
Yeah. I often, the way I sometimes talk about it is it's almost a bit like you have to choose your pain or choose the difficulty in life, because you could argue that, yes, just grabbing a takeout, oh yeah, that's easy. But actually then if you have to, pull yourself, drag yourself through the coming days because you have no energy and
Yeah.
you have the stomach upsets and you've got to, you feel you've got the headaches and that to me is infinitely more
Yes.
challenging to deal with
Yes.
than maybe preparing a meal that takes you maybe
Absolutely.
15 minutes.
It's interesting you say that about headaches, Cherry, because I've had a number of clients over the last 6 months with migraine, really quite a lot. And some of these people are having migraines daily or several times a week or several times a month.
Mm.
And the improvement that they have had, like to the point of, oh, I haven't had to use my migraine medication for weeks.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
just this, in some people, complete eradication. I'd say in most people, complete eradication. And that gives them back so much time because they're not dealing with having to lie down in a dark room for hours, sometimes a day or two, because you get that hangover effect from the migraine.
Yeah.
And it's just from changing food. And people cannot believe it, that just
Yeah.
from changing food, migraines can just completely go. And,
But I
it
think
is one of
that's
those things in
sorry.
peri that the migraines can increase. So
Yeah.
if we can just improve people's quality of life by
Yeah.
eliminating that, it's extraordinary.
Yeah. But that's where I say symptoms are signs of imbalance. It's not
Yeah.
actually that a migraine or a headache is actually a a disorder in somebody that they have to
Yeah.
put up with for life. There's an imbalance happening, and
Yeah.
the potential is that you can come back into balance and not experience that symptom. It's not about curing the
Exactly.
symptom. It's about just
Yeah.
allowing the body that potential.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it is extraordinary because as I'm a migraine sufferer myself, not that I've had one for a while, but it is, you do get told, okay, this is a condition that you have and there's nothing we can do about it, essentially,
Yeah.
except you just have medication when you
Mm.
need it, and you try and identify what your triggers are. But it can be really hard to do that. So yeah, and we get told that about so many different medical conditions, because that's, I guess, for many, particularly in the medical profession, that's their knowledge, is that
Yeah.
because they're not trained in nutrition generally. Is that, oh, well, if we have a problem, then we fix it either with surgery or with medication and occasionally some lifestyle stuff. But yeah, the power of food, as I said before, like it just astounds me what we can achieve
Yeah.
simply with food. And it,
Yeah.
I rarely am using supplements with people anymore now that I'm almost exclusively MB. It's
Yeah.
just extraordinary, as I keep saying. I keep getting blown away.
Yeah. No, it is wonderful. So if
Yeah.
you have a client who is thinking about whether they're going to do MB or not, is there something that you would say to them, just generally, that just about that what you would say to help them make that decision?
Yeah. I would say to them, look, if they think about what life would be like if when they achieve their ideal weight, whatever that is, but also get the benefits that come with that. And particularly if they have other complex, chronic medical conditions, such as the autoimmune conditions, or even if they have perimenopausal symptoms that are, having been through that myself before, having MB is like it can drive you crazy, make you really feel like, you know, you just can't escape from your own body, and you have no control over it. So to have relief from that is absolutely worth what's involved in the program. And the fact that you get this toolkit for life.
Yeah.
You know, there's not that ongoing cost of supplements, and you can go out to a restaurant and it's just food. So you can eat food. You don't have to sit there and nibble on your protein bar or whatever, which I've had clients tell me they've had to do with other programs. It's just such a beautiful education that you then have for your family as well, in terms of understanding how different food impacts on people. I just think it would be amazing if it could be something that's taught in schools, you know, like this life skill of how to feed yourself properly. But the beautiful thing about the personalization of MB is that we are getting these ideal program for people with whatever medical condition they have going on, or with, if it's perimenopause, or if it's other sorts of imbalances in the body, and it will just give you this blueprint that you just follow. You don't have to make any decisions. There's no more confusion. You just do it and the results are there. It's amazing.
Yeah, no, that's how I see it too. Yeah, awesome. Thank you, Susie. It's been really lovely chatting with you, and I just I always love hearing the wonderful results that practitioners across Australia and New Zealand get. And thank you so much for embracing metabolic balance and delivering it to your community as well.
Yeah, thanks so much, Cherry. I absolutely love it, and I'm super passionate about it. So yeah, any opportunity to talk about it, I'll definitely take it. So yeah, it's been a pleasure, Cherry.
Wonderful. Thank you, Susie.